Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of my viewer replay analysis. This one is a special one. It was not sent in by Sect, but he was asking for it on Reddit, and shout out to Stealth Sloth on Reddit, who recommended me and tagged me in it, so I'm going to go ahead and go over these. See, there was 2 games. He said that he is gold, trying to improve, just trying to, it seems like he can't get out of gold, so he's trying to up his game a little bit and see what he can do. So, we'll just go over this. He's on the Jaina in this game, which means he's going to be over here. And as usual, we'll go over talents and everything as they happen. But as far as team comp goes, both teams are fine. I strongly prefer blue team's team comp, though. They have the Nazebo to guarantee their late game potential. They have Lucio, who gives you excellent clear between lanes. I would like them to have a stronger solo laner. If they send Nazebo in the solo, which is probably going to happen, then it's bad. On this map specifically, you can rotate so hard. If you have like Lucio, Johanna, Nazebo, is just, you can clear mid top and just rotate back and forth instantly, like back and forth, and just win that. And then you have like a strong solo laner as your fifth, who just sits bottom and is a rock and doesn't lose, but that's okay. 3, 2, 1. Did you subscribe, Mitty? I mean, thank you. Thank you, Mitty. I love you. But I didn't. It didn't pop up. I got nothing. I'm sorry, Mitty man. I'll give you props in a second. But okay, let's let this fight play out, and then we'll go over level 1 talents. That's a probably Denzel Jin gets walled in. That's kind of rough. Good recognizing by him that it was as bad, though. He was a little bit out of position, and Diablo just walked up and threw him. Y'all are being insubordinate in chat, and I don't appreciate it. Level 1 talents, we got Power Hungry on Li Ming. This is a very good talent for this map. You get a lot of globes. You're rocking back and forth between lanes constantly, so it's not a bad talent here. I like it. We move together on Lucio. Generally, I like a Salorando now. There's a lot of geometry on this map to go off of, and it's pretty good. But we move together is okay. It's just not anything special. Block on Johanna is decent against Azul Jin. Not a terrible choice. Devil's Due is the only good talent on Diablo level 1, in my opinion, especially on this. Nazebo, Pandemic, Toads is very strong on this map. Yeah, I like most of their talents. I could probably do with a couple different on Diablo and Lucio, but overall. Echo on Thrall, I don't know. I don't like the new Thrall very much, so I am not going to have great insight to his talents. I feel like the Crash Lightning at 1 can potentially give you a ton of damage, but it's really hard to stack, so it's kind of wonky, and I don't know. When do you go Toads and when do you go Spiders? Spiders when you need single target damage. Like, you need immortal damage on Battlefield, or you need like good pickoff potential with like a Varian, or when you need stuff like that. When you can single somebody out and then throw Spiders on just one person, ideally, that's when you would go Spiders. But ideally, Toads is great if you can get the quest completed. And they have 1, 2, 3 melee heroes. Jane's going to be kind of melee, not super. She's kind of short range for a mage. But that means she'll be in range of Toads a lot. So you have 3 melees who are all going to eat Toads constantly. Whereas with Spider Build, you want to generally go for like a single target, because you get the extra spiders on one hero, which is why. Q build on Jaina is fine. I like the Q build. I also like the what's it called? I enjoy. Sorry. I am dropping frames because Steam decided it wanted to update everything. Everything's a nightmare. I'm sorry. Q build on Jaina is very good. I like also, I forget what it's called at 1, but the Regen Globe talent, the new Regen Globe talent is very strong on her if you can complete it. And this is definitely a map where you absolutely can complete it. You're rotating between mid and top fairly often on a mage in ideal circumstances, so that gives you a lot of pressure. Kerosene goes Transcendence. I don't really like this. This is okay if you're diving. Fingers of Frost. Thank you, hero. That's the one. I don't really like Transcendence on Kerosene here. Granted, he's a solo healer, so that will help a little bit with his sustain, but generally you want Transcendence where you have a really divey hero who you want to keep alive, like a Greymane or a Genji or something like that, where you can dive in with them and heal them up through enemy burst. As is, it's you know, you have Thrall and Stitches on the front line as well with you, but they're not as divey. Like, Thrall kind of tries to sit back and poke as much as possible. And Stitches can kind of heal himself, so yeah, I might have preferred Iron Fist here, or Insight. This is a pretty small map. You might be able to stack Insight fairly quickly, but it's okay. Dampened Magic is decent against this team. It's good against Li Ming. I mean, they have a lot of ways to proc it, which is the bad part, right? Any of Nazeebo's abilities, you know, Catch a Stray, Fire Stomp from Diablo, or Blind, and that's popped, which is kind of bad. But it's an 8-second cooldown, which is fairly good. It's, you know, 8-second downtime, 1.5-second uptime, so it's 6.5 seconds of total downtime. That's not bad. In a fight, that's going to save you a lot against this comp, because they have a lot of magic damage, right? Nazeebo's going to be humping out Toads for most of his damage, and Li Ming is obviously all magic damage. The Recklessness on Zul'jin is the safer version of Headhunter, basically. It gives you guaranteed damage when you pop him on your rage at 7, or, you know, and just in a fight, you'll generally be under 75% at least. And then if you drop below 50, perhaps with Amani Rage, you can get more spell damage as well. But Headhunter is definitely the stronger one here, but I don't know if I would be confident in killing all of these beefy heroes, right? They got Johanna, who can get out of most things, especially with this team. They don't have a ton of CC, right? They only have Stitch's Hook into a Jaina combo, possibly. Like, Diablo's the same way. He can just kind of run away from you guys. He's really beefy. Nazeebo's going to try and be at range. You're going to have a hard time catching Li Ming unless you just straight hook her and kill her. And Lucio's pretty squirrely as well, so I like that choice. He's a little bit slow in the follow-up there, right? He was kind of in range here. Let's scoot that back slightly so you can see what I mean. Just pure positioning, right? He's on the Jaina sect here is... So they get that kill, which sucks. He eats a lot of damage, and he goes back just kind of walking around in circles, and then throws out a Q, and Jaina has some mana problems early on. He was a little bit too far back to follow up on that Stitches Hook. If he was playing a little bit more forward, they might have been able to kill that Johanna, but it would have been close either way. The Blizzard here isn't actually going to hit much, is the problem with that. Like, Blizzard's a decently long cooldown, and it costs a lot of mana for Jaina, especially if you don't go for the Regen Globe talent. You need to make your spells count for sure, so definitely need to... Something like that, I would say, is not worth a Blizzard. Like, not even, just don't do it. Like, it's not... You have no mana now, it's almost a minute in, and you're already out of mana, which is... You gotta worry about your mana early on somebody like a Jaina, because that's all of your damage, right? You don't auto-attack very hard. So, ideally, cast Blizzards that count, right? You want to hit, ideally, the entire creep wave with a Blizzard, and then you can, that will kill them by itself. And then you can focus your E and Q onto enemy heroes. Or you can Blizzard when you get, like, a good hook. But somebody like a Diablo isn't going to die to just your Blizzard, so ideally try to save your mana for more important things like waves. Especially early game, especially on Tomb. Wave clear is the name of the game here. You just need to clear waves, especially if you're on a Jaina. You can clear mid, walk top, clear top, and then be back mid before this creep wave hits, and get another Blizzard off. It's a 12-second cooldown on Blizzard, or 16, something like that. So it's enough to get both of these waves, for sure. So definitely worry about your mana management a little. Just because you're not, you gotta make your hits count, for sure. So you're already tapping, it's already only a minute in, and it's just for mana. You're full on HP, right? So, that's not as good. So, that was a decent Blizzard. It hit the wave, but at that point, you weren't going to get anything out of it, right? You were close enough to clear the wave with everybody else. And you're really low on mana again, because you used just another Q to clear, you hit an Nazeebo wall with it. And at this point, yeah, you might have to go back really soon just because you have no mana. You guys are going for a 1-3-1. I don't know if that's standard down, not down, but angled. See, that was a very good Blizzard. That is kind of the Blizzard I'm talking about. Excellent value. You clear the wave, get your globe, and you get as much mana back from the globe as you did clearing the wave, basically. So that way you're completely fine on mana. Your management is alright there. Getting some decent poke onto the Johanna. Good juke onto the orb, and good juke on the missiles. There you go. Good positioning there. We'll be focusing a lot on Jaina this game, by the way, because this guy specifically was asking for how to improve his game, and not just looking. Maybe mention when Blizzard is always enough to clear. Yeah, I think I said that, but Blizzard, you only need to cast a Blizzard on a wave and it will always clear the wave, period. As long as it hits them with all your hits. And see, now you have to back. It's 2 minutes, and you already have to go back for mana, which is, again, not ideal. Ideally, you want to be out in lanes as much as possible, getting all that XP and getting those sweet stacks. Nazebo is free pushing bottom right now, which is less than ideal. I mean, it's Nazebo, so if he's sitting in one lane and bottom lane, that's good for you guys because he's not getting as many stacks. He's also not stacking his Toad, but you don't want nobody to be there. Cone is so expensive, that is true. Only cast Cone when you know you're gonna be able to get something out of it. Like that with some decent damage there, but again, that's half your mana almost. So definitely, especially on Tomb, I would worry about your rotations, because if you can convince your team to 4-man rotate, you can just clear this, walk straight up through here, clear this, and back, and just keep doing that over and over and over again. And if the enemy tries to stop you, you have a hook, you have a lot of burst between yourself and Thrall, and Kerosene. If he goes Iron Fist, he didn't, but you have decent burst. You have good ways to like kill people that try to stop you from rotating, and you have very good wave clear. So you can just keep doing that rotation. So you're gonna come bottom now. Try to put some pressure onto this Nazebo, which is a good call. You know, you don't want Nazebo free stacking. Hero says, just ignore the enemy team, why poke? The objective is really strong. Yeah, definitely. I would absolutely agree with that. The objective is very strong on this map, and the only thing that you're going to get out of poking is, you know, they have really good sustain between Lucio. They have a Diablo who has really good self-sustain with Devils do. Got Power Hungry for even more mana regen on the Li Ming. Like, they're going to get a ton of HP back. Poking isn't going to be very effective against them. So unless you get, like, a kill, you're not, like, unless you completely, like, hook somebody and just get a kill straight up, you're not going to get a ton of value out of not clearing lanes. So, you guys are still doing okay. I mean, talk over 4s right now. That was another good Blizzard. That kind of thing, that is what I'm looking for out of Blizzards, ideally on Jaina, is trying to hit as many creeps as possible, or using it for a big team fight. And don't really use it for skirmishes because it costs way too much fucking mana that you don't have. Dominance on Li Ming, pretty standard. Subwoofer on Lucio, also fairly standard. Not that there's going to be many people use that on this game, but Conviction on Johanna, I much prefer the cooldown now at 4, I think. I think the cooldown's at 4. Depending on how many targets you hit, that's a very good skill. Demonic Strength is generally not what I go. I usually go from the Shadows, I believe it is called, which is the Shadow Charge range, which is excellent. Blood Ritual on Nazebo is pretty good on this map, but it's a lot better if he's rotating. So, you know, if he was hitting both waves in mid and top, like ideally you guys want to do, he would be getting so much health and mana back. Like, it's pretty crazy, actually. Pharaoh Resilience on Thrall. I don't know why he goes this. It only gives physical armor, and none of the blue team's team does physical damage. So that's a pretty wasted talent, unfortunately. You're going continuing with the Q build. It's a very good build. Nothing wrong with it. So I am okay with your build currently. Kerosene is not picked. Stitches goes Putrid Ground, and Amani Rage. All fairly standard from everybody else. So you don't have the cooldown yet. You get that at 7. Getting some decent poke off. You might have been able to kill them if you pursued a little bit harder. You probably would have been able to kill that Diablo if you had kept going. Might be one dead Zul'jin. Maybe. Maybe. Sorry, I'm fascinated by the Zul'jin. You got the trade. Okay. Alright. So you're like right there, you were doing the right thing though. You went mid to clear the wave, and then you go on top to clear the wave. Again, you don't need to use any other mana other than your W to clear a full wave, so just keep that in mind. And right here, you have excellent range with the Winter's Reach at 1. You can just poke from about where you are, and you'll always hit them. Level 7 talents real quick before these team fights happen. We've got Calamity on Leeming, which I don't like, but that's a different story. Sonic Amplifier on Lucio, which is not great. I much prefer Party Mix. Boombox is actually okay. I've had a recent couple interactions with Boombox, and it's nice. I'm pretty sure it's 7 as well. Zealous Glare is very good. No complaints there, except you don't have a lot of auto attackers. Like, again, you can blind Zul'jin, but you're not going to be close enough to use that usually. Toads Are Huges is fairly standard if you're going Toad build. Boombox at 7 is excellent right now, yeah. Follow through on Thrall is also fairly standard if you're going to go for Echo. Obviously, you're getting an extra cast for a reason. Ice Lance continuing to go for the Q build is very, very good. Heavenly Zeal is not what I go on Carry's team. I usually go for the extra dashes because I like to go Cleanse here. Cleanse would be pretty good against this team. Stitches goes Toxic Gas, which is also fairly standard, and Arcanine Axe is, again, pretty standard. So, fairly normal, everything coming out. Gonna bring up Jaina's talents because I lose track of them after 10. But again, like Kona Cold costs a ton of mana. Just try to be wary of your mana usage, especially because you didn't go the regen globe talent at 1. You're gonna have a lot less mana regen. And always try to E before you Q so you can get the cooldown reduction and keep spamming those Qs. If you were a little more aggressive here, again, you could see 3 people mid, right? Like, let's go back just a sec. Let's go to your vision. You're gonna be 6 or 7. Okay. Alright, you're here on Jaina. So this is your vision, right? You saw one person bottom. I mean, if you're watching minimap, obviously. Which ideally we are. And so here, you can see 3 people mid on the minimap. You saw just one person bottom just a second ago. UI was having a heart attack over here. So you saw 3 people mid. You saw one person bottom a minute ago. He is now top, which is, 2 people top, but still 3 people mid. You can play here, and you'll be fine. Like, right where your Stitches is, you'll be fine. The Nazebo's not going to kill you. He doesn't do enough damage right now. So you back up a little bit here, which means that you don't get this kill. You could totally have secured that kill if you were a little more aggressive there. The Blizzard's only going to hit the, what's it called there? The fountain, the sippy cup. So again, that's just, your Blizzard's a long cooldown. You need to be wary of it. 15 seconds, it's a long time. So that was a decent Blizzard, and now you have pretty good value on your Q here. You can keep hitting, but you're out of mana is the biggest problem, right? This team fight would be great for you guys, but you're out of mana, so you can't do much here. Stitch is going to hook somebody into his death, unfortunately. And yeah, if you had had full mana for that fight, you might have been able to just kill people. They got turned in. What do you think Jaina should be doing during this team? Solo clearing spider? Yeah. You'd be staying with the team because they got the turn in, but I got you. Ideally, they would have had one person mid just trying to poke a little bit because they're not 10 yet. I don't like pre-10 turn-ins as much on this map. I am liking them less and less, unless you can get it super duper early. It's just, I don't feel like you get a lot of value out of a pre-10 turn-in. But post-10, you can absolutely capitalize and just 5 mana and kill the first person you see. Alright. The Blizzard onto the Diablo there is going to get decent damage. That was a very good Blizzard, you used it to proc your Q. It was good job. You got the kill. In there, you got the kill with Cone, but I was going to say you might want to Cone first in that kind of situation, so you can get the cooldown. That was a very good Blizzard, though. And again, a very good Blizzard here, trying to get as much wave as possible. But I would be wary about using Cone for clear, because, again, it's so much fucking mana. Jaina really has mana problems these days. So you do go Ring. I'll go over Heroics in a second. Blue team does get a Web Weavers. I prefer that a little farther back, but that's okay. Not too bad. You miss a couple of Qs, unfortunately, which means that you don't get the reset on the cooldown. Water Elemental's legit now? Yeah, I'll talk over that in a second. So there, that was... Even if that ring had landed, it would have been a bad use of ring, in my opinion. Because you don't really want to... It's a pretty long cooldown, 80 seconds, and now they can just force a fight. And they have Web Weavers up. So now they can just force a fight while knowing that both Earthquake and Ring are down. Right? So speaking of which, we have Disintegrate, Sound Barrier, Blessed Shield, APOC, Gargantuan, all very standard on blue team's side. Earthquake, Ring, Divine Palm, Bio, and Guillotine. Again, all fairly standard. I really, really, really like Water Elemental right now. Especially if you're going Q build. It gives you one less ability that you have to waste in order to get the Q cooldown proc, in order to chill, right? Because you want them to be chilled before you start casting Qs. So ideally, you want to hit them with a W or an E, but those will both have very long cooldowns and do very good damage by themselves. So you want to try and save those for big clumped fights. And if you get Water Ellie, it's a much shorter cooldown. It's, I think, 60, right? Am I crazy? Where is it at? Yeah, 60 seconds, and it lasts 20 seconds. I don't remember if the cooldown pops right away or if it pops after the Water Ellie dies. But either way, 60 seconds is a lot less time than 80. And especially in a game like this, where they have decent cooldowns as well. So if you can use Water Ellie to get a pick off, and then take a fight 60 seconds later, if they try to react to you, then you're up on heroics, and that's really good for you. And again, like I was saying with the Q build, especially if you go Water Ellie, then you can absolutely just crush anyone in a 1v1. And it would have been a better pick to get this kill because you could have had the Water Ellie push after. Could have had the Water Ellie help you with this, but mainly it's for the cooldown because you want the cooldown, so you want to chill them, but you don't want to waste Blizzard and you don't want to waste Cone, ideally. So that's why I really like Water Ellie. But the ring right there, it did secure the kill. I don't think it was necessary to secure the kill, right? You did have the Stitches hook still that was absolutely already coming in. And it's a very big cooldown to waste for one kill. So they're just going to push in with their Weavers a little bit. Excuse me. See right here, if you had Ring still, you could be walking with Stitches, go behind them, and ring 3 people, possibly. Like, if you could have walked up super aggressive right here with the Stitches, because he has Bile, he's going to want to run behind them, and you could have dropped Ring in and fucked them up when they tried to get through the choke point. But, because it's down, you don't have that luxury. So now, Stitches is kind of going in by himself, using Bile, and you're not going to get anything out of it. So that's another cooldown down. And they got to wait another 60 seconds until you can fight. Meanwhile, the enemy team has all of their ults up, and they're going to look for a fight before you guys hit 13, probably. Yeah, so right here, this is where they're going to look for a fight. That was a pretty good Blizzard. That was a good area to throw it in. If they were trying to go on you, that was a pretty decent area. Maybe a little bit more to the right or a little bit more up to close off one of the choke points slightly better. Because as is, they could have walked around it either way. But that was decent positioning and trying to know where it is. So you walk back into the APOC there. I'm just going to little thing about positioning. That's a very easy thing to avoid if you're not under attack. So try to be aware of where your character is, especially if they have something like APOC. And see, now because you don't have Ring and you use the Blizzard cooldown already, you were kind of SOL in that fight. You could definitely get this kill. Ooh, never mind. You don't have the burst. You don't have the mana either. That's another problem. Is just you're running out of mana a lot. So try to only cast your spells when they're necessary. That was a decent ring. If you had mana, you could have followed up, and if your team was alive. So that is a decent ring because it got the kill. It was a very good ring if your team was all alive and healthy, especially if they had resources, if they had all their mana and all their health. You could have wiped them very easily off of that. But because you did it when you had no mana, you had it instantly back. And same with the rest of your team. They were all very low. And now you don't have ring for the next fight again. So be aware of your ring usage. And make sure you can follow up on it before you use it. It's a hard thing to master, right? Mana management is not easy. I struggle with it every once in a while. You gotta pay a lot of attention in this game, and mana management is definitely one of those things. That was a good Blizzard. I might have preferred you save it slightly for the get the wave as well. But you didn't know. See, if you had Ring here, they would all be dead. Situations like this is why you need Ring. That was a very good fishing, or not fishing hook, because he doesn't have it yet, but that was a very good hook. And that's a dead Zul'jin, unfortunately. Alright. Now you're going to go bottom. You don't have enough to turn in by yourself, obviously, but a situation like that is not one when you want to turn in. Walking in behind is going to be very risky. He does get the hook on a Lucio. And again, because you want to hit another spell before landing Q. Ideally, you're throwing out Qs to try and poke. But if you're a Q build, you need to get the cooldown off of that, which you're not going to get by just throwing out random Qs. So you need to hit somebody with a cone, or hit somebody with the first wave of a blizzard, or hit somebody with a water Ellie, and then start spamming Qs, because otherwise you're just not going to get a ton of value out of your 1 through 7 talents. That was a good way to stop off the choke point, or to hold off the choke point, but you're using spells again when it's just, you're very low on mana now. So it's a decent ring. It almost hit them. It was a decent idea, but you can't follow up. Your Stitches is almost dead. You have no mana. Your Kerasim's definitely dead. Situations like that, you just got to be really, really, really aware of where your team is at, where you're at on mana, and what you can do. So let's go over 13s real quick. Illusionist is what you're going to go if you're going to go Calamity. Beat Mixing is decent. It's not amazing, but it's decent. Blessed Hammer is very good on Johanna. I really like this talent. Diablo goes Devastating Charge. I also like that talent. Guardian Toads is eh. However, there's going to be a lot of people eating toads, so that's not bad. Not terrible. Spirit Shield on to Thrall, which is not bad, especially against all the spell damage, which is, I don't know why he went Pharaoh Resilience. He's worried about spell damage. So 13, you go Stormfront. That's the Blizzard talent, which increases the cast range, which is okay theoretically, right? You get the range on Frostbolt, you got range on Blizzard, you got really far range, but realistically, you have to be kind of short range anyway to cast Cone and to cast Ring. So you're not going to get a ton of value out of this talent. Ideally, if you're going to go for a Q build at 13, you want to go for Icy Veins. It gives you cooldown reduction and reduces the mana cost of your abilities by 50%, and gives you 300% cooldown increased. So, like, if you have Q build and you pop Icy Veins in a team fight, you can just mash on Q and you'll get so many hits. And even if you miss one, it's a lower cooldown because you have a 300% cooldown reduction, and it's just, you're spamming very, very good, and that's what ideally you want to do with the Frostbolt World 1 through 7, is try to spam your damage out as often as possible. Kerasim is very late on picking his talents, pretty much consistently. You're almost 14, he still hasn't picked a talent. It's been the case for level 4 and level 7 as well. Don't know what he's on, but that's okay. Mega Smash is fairly standard. Again, Stitch is going for a pretty standard slam build with Dampen Magic at 1. Lacerate is also very good on Zul'jin. So, just something to keep in mind. Icy Veins is an excellent, excellent talent if you're going to go for a full Q build. See right there, you tried to like poke in. You just don't have mana though. It's unfortunate. I kind of get playing safer, but part of your team comp is rough because you have so many melees. So I understand that call, because you don't want Thrall to go in like he was. You have a Thrall, unfortunately, and he has to go in to do anything. Does he have Echo completed? He does. Okay. They barely didn't get that. Blue gets another set of Will Weavers, which means his bottom fort's definitely gone. Push somewhere else as well. See, I like your choice there to not use mana. Like, that seemed like a very good option there. You didn't use your mana, you didn't waste it. Unfortunately, you're going top, which is theoretically not a bad idea. You missed most of the wave with the Blizzard, but your whole team is bottom. You have to defend. You're not going to be able to save this fort anyway, but if they're going to spend everything to defend bottom, you should probably be there with them. You're going to eat a decent amount of damage from her. That's an okay Blizzard. If she chased, she would have gotten hit by it, so it's not bad. But unfortunately, the enemy team wins this 4v4. They have a lot more CC than you guys do. Fish just tries to bolt back. Doesn't get killed for it. Helping Hand would be very good here. Doesn't look like he wants to use it, though. So back in top lane, you're just poking in. The waves are far enough away from your keeps that they weren't going to do a ton of damage to your keeps anyway. So I might have preferred you be with your team there. Sorry, dropping frames because Microsoft sucks. Okay. Successfully defended. You only lost the fort, which is very good at this point. There were 16. If they had grouped and pushed, you probably would have lost bottom keep. But as is, it worked out for you guys. I'll go over 16s once you guys get there as well. Everything just decides it wants to update right now. Come on. I'm recording something. Come on. Alright, he went Quicksilver. It's all about that movement speed. Okay, so here you're just kind of, you know, you look like you are unsure where to go. You should probably clear this siege camp bottom lane. You need to clear that before anything happens. You guys should be going down as 5 to just clear this real quick, and then move on from there. Maybe stop a turn in, maybe get a turn in of your own, but you just kind of, we're undecisive. Let the enemy team turn in all of their coins. They're not going to get a ton, but the right play there would have been to go clear that bottom camp as 5 and then rotate and maybe try and get a turn in. So before this fight breaks out, I want to go over 16s really quick. Diamond Skin on Leeming, go Mirror Ball. It's a very good talent. Rejuvenescencia is a terrible word to say. Is fairly standard on Lucio, especially with a double tank. It's a very good talent. Really hard to pass up. Holy Renewal is okay. I don't know. That's an okay talent. It's not great, but it's okay. Fearful Presence. If you're going to go for Devastating Charge, ideally you want to go for the Overpower resets your Q cooldown. So you can get one charge, flip somebody, and charge them again. Spider Colony is also excellent on Gazebo right now because of the way they switched it, and now buffs toads and walls instead of spiders. So it's a very good talent now. Tempest Fury is okay. I don't know. He didn't take any of the other Wind Fury talents, so it's fine, but it's not great. This talent is very good with the 13 talent, I believe it is, that gives you double stacks off of Wind Fury. So, I don't really like this as much because he didn't really go for it with any of his other abilities or any of his other talents. Snowstorm is another talent, so you're thinking of the synergy between the radius and the range here, but you're not getting anything to benefit you. You're just getting like quality of life buffs, right? You're getting a radius buff, you're getting a cast range buff. You didn't get any. None of your talents help you with your damage or help you to do anything other than just some quality of life on your range and cast and stuff like that. So, 16, I really like both of the Cone of Cold talents, either the root or the armor reduction, especially, again, if you have a Q build. So the root requires it to be chilled, but the armor reduction does not. So if you hit somebody with an armor, like a Cone of Cold, to pop your Q, they get reduced armor. Then you can pop Icy Veins and continue spamming Qs when they have reduced armor, which is a very, very good way to do that. Or if you have Water Ellie, you can hit somebody with a Water Ellie, use the root talent at 16, and just root them, and then just machine gun them with Qs. But I would have preferred either of the other two talents at 16 over Snowstorm here, just so you know. Now this fight's gonna break out. It was a very good ring, right? It hits, I don't know if it actually hits, okay, it hits 4 people. I was going to say, it should hit these two, but they're kind of weird. Hitboxes are strange in this game sometimes. That was a very excellent ring. That was 4 people. It's exactly what you wanted out of that ring. Unfortunately, you got hit with APOC right as it happened, so you couldn't follow up, and now your team's going to die for it. So you had Ice Block there. I'm sorry if you can hear my roommate in the background. He's yelling about football, I think. So you have Ice Block. You could have dodged the APOC here with it, right? So this fight breaks out. You pop that. You were stunned, actually. So here, if you hold down your 1 key, you will use it. You use the ability on one out of any CC. Like, as soon as you can get out of that CC, instead of trying to mash it and maybe accidentally canceling it after you use it, you can just hold down the key and it won't cancel it, but it will cast it as soon as it's available. So if you got hit by the Blessed Shield, you saw the APOC under you. If you just held 1 during that whole time, you would have ice blocked right now, and you wouldn't have gotten comboed. And then you might have been able to follow up and kill these 3 people with all of your burst. But unfortunately, he did get you out, and that's going to be a very bad wipe for you guys. You lost. Okay, you didn't lose your coins on Kerosene because he saved himself. But because he had to save himself, you guys didn't get very good value out of that. And he still has all of your coins, so if he goes down, you guys are just screwed for turn-ins for the rest of the game, pretty much. They're going to go boss, it looks like. Yeah, that's the right play here. Just go take the boss. Or take a keep. I don't know if they had long enough death timers to fully force a keep. Mid lane was already down with the wall. They probably could have forced a mid-keep. But boss is safer, so no real complaints. Kerosene still has not stopped with his 16 talent. What a guy. You guys turn in. That's actually not a bad choice to get the turn in. It's kind of a waste of a turn in because you're not going to get any value out of it. But the enemy team is going to want to all go top, and you have a very good way pushing bottom. I don't know if he thought of that or if he just thought he wanted to get rid of his coins, but there are much worse times to turn in than that. So here's where I would like to see a blizzard, right? Get a blizzard onto this and maybe right behind it. Putting it right there means that you're not going to hit anybody with it. I mean, Johanna walked into it. She shouldn't have. If you had placed it like here, which you definitely could do with the increased range, like... where you at? Here you are. Can I back it up and see the cooldown? Or the range? I hope so. We'll see. I don't think it wants to show me the range. Okay. But you're definitely in range because you took the range talent. If you put it here, like right on top of your, like, just the back tip of it hitting this, and maybe like this circle right here was your blizzard, that zones them a lot harder than it does if you place it directly on top of your tower, right? Because the only person that's going to walk up is Johanna, and she's very hard to kill. So if you had placed it further back, they would have been more pressured off of your web weaver. But this one isn't really going to hit that many people. You had a decent ring again, but it feels like you're not confident in your rings because you're casting them and immediately walking back, right? You cast that when you were standing right there and then immediately ran behind your fountain. So because of that, the root effectively does nothing because they're rooted for a second and they can just walk out. You need to be using it to follow up. If Stitches walks in Biles, then you can use it there and have them all CC'd while they're in the Putrid Bile. Or if the Thrall jumps in Earthquakes, you can use it as a very good follow-up tool. He saved himself. That's a pretty good palm. But now you don't have a ring and they're still pushing onto your keep. Excuse me. So you're playing really far back to stay safe, which I understand, but you're also getting very little value out of your damage. You're not doing a ton of damage here. Where are you at on damage? You're at 48. Yeah, you're looking at 61,000. Your Stitches almost has as much damage as you. Just because you're not getting a ton of resets. Please. You're not getting a ton of resets off of your Q, off your level 1 talent, 1 through 7 talents. And you're not getting a ton of value out of your rings. So try, especially with rings, if you're going to go Ring of Frost, try to use it less as an initiation if you're not as confident in it, and more as a follow-up. So if Thrall jumps in at Earthquakes, which is a very huge skill, guaranteed to hit pretty much everyone on the enemy team, then you can get a very good root follow-up. Or if Stitches walks through them with Putrid Bile, they're forced to walk one direction if they want to get away from it, which gives you another free opportunity for a ring. Stuff like that. Try to use it to follow up on big abilities, and then your team can help you follow up off of that because you have the advantage at that point. The enemy team was running away and you caught them out, as opposed to just casting it, hitting 4 people, and then backing up because you weren't confident in it. So right here, they're going to hit 20 before you guys, and they have Web Weavers coming, so this is a very bad situation for you guys to be in. They have a camp pushing, they're almost 20, and they have Web Weavers knocking at your door, and this top keep is basically dead. So this is a very bad spot for you guys to be in. It's a great Blizzard to clear that wave. At this point, you can spend a little bit more mana to quick clear a wave, because you have decent mana regen. But you got to be wary still. I would have advised maybe throwing another W out because you had the cooldown, you have the range, and you have the radius. You can throw another W out and then back up, and it'll be up by the time you get to the top. So you could have cleared that midway one more time, get you a little bit more XP. The enemy is 20 now. They do have web weavers knocking at your keep. So that was a decent ring. It caught 2 people and thought one person in the middle. But again, you backed off. You cast it and immediately ran away, so you don't really have a ton of follow-up for it. And you hit the one person with your Q that wasn't chilled, so you didn't get a reset on it either. And that's going to be game, it looks like. Situation like that as well, try not to fight down a tier. I mean, obviously they were kind of forcing it there. I don't really think Zero was the problem, but that's okay. So like decent in general, like your positioning was good. You weren't dying a lot. You were playing very safe, but you someone like Jaina, you can't rely on that. You need to get aggressive to do your damage, and so you need to be using your ring to follow up on abilities and to try and kill people. Like you need to follow up with your ring. Are they gonna back off? They are gonna back off. They could have ended there for sure. Good guillotine. Okay, they're waiting for their wave. They're coming back in. See, if you had a water alley, it would have been up 10 seconds ago, and you could have used it again for this fight. Good kill onto the Diablo. It was a good poke from you. You got that kill. It was a decent ring as they were running away. You got another catch. Yeah, you probably could have killed the Zebo too if you had gone straight after him. Ooh, that was a lot of toad damage. That was a ton. Is he dead? He pops the Earthquake to save himself. Barely lived. Whew. Barely. Alright, now you guys are wave clearing. 20 talents, you have Tower Rush's elements. If you're gonna go Disintegrate, go the Disintegrate upgrade. If you're gonna go Wave, go with the Wave upgrade. I don't think Tower Rush's is very good anymore. Especially if you're going for Calamity, because you want resets and you're just gonna use everything in a burst and then keep spamming Teleport. Bossa Nova is decent on Lucio. Very good for saving people over and over with the 30-second cooldown. It's very good. Johanna goes Blinded by the Light. It's an excellent talent. Lord of Terror is not great. I much prefer Hellgate. For the free blink, you can blink and then flip somebody and then push them back kind of thing. Viral Infection is completed on Diablo or Nazebo. Got 218 stacks, so that's going to be a nightmare for you guys in these late game team fights. Breath and Shield is okay. It's decent against their comp, right? Because they have a lot of AoE damage. More shields is always good against a Li Ming as well. That's not a bad choice. Cold Snap is okay. You are hitting some people in the middle, which is you're gonna get some value out of it. Ideally, you're trying to hope for like 3 or 4 people so you can get the cooldown reduction. It was a good presence of mind to clear the bottom siege camp, but you guys do need to be pushing, or you should be pushing with this with this boss. It is 21 minutes at this point. A boss is gonna get you a lot of value, but you're stuck clearing bottom. Maybe a little more communication or somebody down there who could have cleared that earlier and gotten back up would have been better, but as is, this boss is going to do basically nothing. I got the wall and that's it. You guys didn't capitalize on that advantage you had very well. And here you're going back. You're at decent health and mana. You probably could have just gone and turned in, gotten a couple of globes and been fine. But now your team's going to engage somewhat 4v5 and they might just die. Yeah, they fought 4v5 because you backed up. They didn't fight because you backed up, but you did back up, and that meant that they just fought 4v5, unfortunately. And then, sorry, we got Cannibalize and Stitches and Buzzsaw. Kara thought he could get out, which is why he was up there. He could have jumped over the wall down, but he decided to put the ally there, which means it's probably just game. Unless you can hit like a massive 5-man ring and just wipe them right now, this is gonna be it. a decent ring. You got a couple people. It's on a 40-second cooldown now, which isn't going to get you another cast in this fight. But, yeah, it's going to be GG. That was a decent ring at the end there. Unfortunately, it didn't really matter because you guys were down so many heroes already. You had no Zul'jin, no Kerosene. But overall, I would say try to manage your mana earlier, or better earlier on. You had a lot of problems with your mana early in the game. You had to go back a few times. Oh, don't get salty. It's okay. Shit happens. I understand you're upset, but fucking everybody feeds sometimes. Accidents happen. The Kerosene thought he'd get away because he had the jumps, but unfortunately did not make it out. I would say manage your mana better early game. Look for rings that you can capitalize on, not just throwing them out because there's a lot of heroes nearby. You threw a few rings out when your team was low, or when you were backing up, or you just threw a ring out and left, kind of thing. So definitely be aware of your ring placement. I would highly recommend going a different talent at 13 and 16, and possibly trying out Water Elemental as well. But that's going to do it for this game. Thank you all so much for joining me for episode 13 of a viewer replay analysis. Technically, it wasn't a viewer that sent this in, but that's okay. Thank you all so much. If you like what I do, feel free to like the video or subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/winterheart. Yeah, I'll be back in with another episode in just a minute, and we will get another couple of games in today. So, thank you so much for watching, guys.